This is Pro-Life Sunday. So I wanted to make a video and pay tribute to all the protesters across the land that have been trying to...
You wanted to make a video?
Yes.
Okay.
And
This ain't we now, this is you, right?
I want to, yes.
Okay. Let's get that straight. I'm here for the comic relief, remember?
Yes. That I wanted to, because having protested for 35 years, I know how hard this is. Like when I realized it was Sanctity of Life Month, I thought, oh no. Because getting myself in gear to write about trying to protest our policies, our present policies, and persuade people that we need to do something about this. And why we need to do something about legalized abortion is because when a law is helping people to do bad things, they tend to do it, We've had that proved to us because of the high numbers of abortions in this country once it was legalized. I mean, they leaped. And if you don't think that a million,
Isn't that leapt?
maybe 200,000,
They leapt?
a million abortions a year are too many, well, I don't think that you could. It just staggers the mind to think of that many children being killed from their own parents. They're deciding that, their mothers deciding that they just could not have this child, but having conceived it, they couldn't have it. And so, again, the protesters have to keep up their spirits and be determined that they're not going to stop doing this no matter what until the goals have been accomplished. That I think that the abortion laws need to be back.
What goals are you trying to...
back in the hand.
Are you trying to bring us back into the dark ages again?
Yeah, sometimes the so-called dark ages are actually, as we can see that sometimes when we let people go to do whatever, they don't behave very well. So the deaths have just been astronomical, and it's like we need to keep on trying to get the laws of abortion back into the states, because to me, the reason why the states need to have control of this is because lawmakers, everyone is closer to their constituents. They're more in touch with the people. It isn't so distant and disconnected as the federal mandate would be. So hard to affect. If it's wrong, once it gets into a federal law, it takes an act of, it's so difficult to change it. And that's why you don't want, we didn't even have a chance. People in this country were not even allowed to say whether they wanted this to be a national law. The Supreme Court made it a national law without consulting with the people, without giving them a chance to vote on it or say what they thought. In fact, the Supreme Court's decision, which eventually caused such a change, was protested more than any other decision by the Supreme Court. So this should have given the Supreme Court and all of us pause, that we should have thought then that maybe this was unprecedented, that the Supreme Court had, after all, they're only men and women, they're only human, that they had probably taken too much power unto themselves and weren't cautious and did not stay within limits that were. And then, of course, once they've done it, then they have to try to justify it, and all the people that are for it have to try to justify it over and over with all kinds of, well, as far as I'm concerned, unworthy reasons that don't defy logic. They're not even reasonable. Not even reasonable. For one thing, I don't think, that anyone who advocates abortion actually believes that there's a spirit in these little children, because there's life and spirit being synonymous. And when you kill a person and this spirit is gone, is not there anymore. Well, do we have eyes to see spirits? No, we don't. And I think this is a protection of the spirits. Who it's for this very reason, because human beings have not advanced enough to keep from killing. So, if they could see where these spirits go, they would probably keep pursuing them and trying to do them harm. So, I think life has evolved so that we don't know where people go after they've died out of this body. And we assume that this body is the only expression of life, of our spirits. Because we can't see the spirits among us. I think people who are open to the idea can feel them, and they learn to pick up on, they're given signs that they're there, but with whatever faculties they've got in this world to detect this, and they're probably not going to come into their full power to see the spirit that has died until they themselves die. So the logic of this, seems to, and I think people who are bent on having stuff like laws like legalized abortion, they don't want to see this. So they're going to say, oh gosh, that's just ridiculous. Nobody but religious fanatics, so they've made religious a bad word. I mean, only stupid religious people could possibly entertain the idea that there is a spirit. Really. And, this, but again, I think that if you try to sense and keep your mind open to these possibilities, then you're apt to get proof, as much proof as you can have in this world that these people live on. And so when you stop and think about millions of tiny children, embryo, dispatched to the other world. So what you've done is you've cleaned up this world. You've, some pat themselves on the back to curbing the having of children who, to them, I suppose 1 million abortions a year is advanced. They don't seem to look at it any other way. Whereas, to me, this is horrifying. It's like taking your own excesses and sending them to the other side. The children are excessive to you, so you send them to the other side for other people to take care of. You don't stop to think that. I don't think that most people who have abortions and believe in abortion do not think that they are doing this, that they are sending their child to somebody else to look after. And after they've suffered a lot of pain and been through being killed. Now, that's the ultimate in suffering in this world, is being killed and be tortured right up to the point of death. But being killed is the absolute worst that can happen to you at the hands of somebody else. So you've not only sent your children